Welcome back to Kicks and Picks. Scotty and I here with you. Nick will be joining us shortly, and we also have special guest Martino Puccio of That Milan podcast. You might not see him on your screen; the camera is off, but he is with us, and he's ready to weigh in on a big weekend in Europe. We have Arsenal City in the Premier League. We have his side. He's from That Milan podcast. They are playing the Derby della Madonnina, which is why we brought him on against Inter this weekend. That is followed by my team, Roma, having a big match against the league leaders Napoli in Serie A. So busy weekend, lots of good matchups, some really nice lines because of these big matchups. And we'll kick it off in the Premier League. Starting the weekend on Saturday, we have a 7:30 a.m. matchup. It is Forest and Brighton. So some nice lines here for both sides. Money line, Forest plus 145 coming off that bad loss to Bournemouth. Brighton plus 190 on the road. Draw lines plus 240. Martino, welcome to the show. We'll kick it off to you first. I mean, what are you thinking here in this Premier League matchup? If you have an opinion, and again, thanks for coming on. This got to be like your fourth or fifth time on the show, I think.
No, I lost count, man. Apologies not being on camera, getting that disgusting winter sickness. I've been coughing in between the stops, but great to be on here. Yeah, man. Listen, I was giddy when I was just checking FotMob earlier about like some of these matchups because I knew Milan Inter. Obviously, it's a big one, but I'm really not interested in watching Milan right now. So I was looking around on what the other big games were going to be, and this one just caught my eye. Finally off on a Sunday where I could watch a huge Premier League match like this, and I think this can go so many ways, and it implicates so many different things within the league and a potential fight for the trophy, because I know Scotty is kind of PTSD about it, as he was telling me. But I am very amped for this one. I think there are some key absences, I will say, but I'm very amped just for this matchup.
So you're referring to the City Arsenal matchup on Sunday. Yeah. So we'll get into that one in a bit.
I messed up and you said
no, it's okay. One. Yeah, we were going to run through start on Saturday. We were.
I wasn't kidding. I was literally coughing the entire
Listen,
time.
It's the flu game. It's a Jordan flu game. You got to get the first quarter out of the way, and then we'll go from there.
So we'll definitely get into
everything I just said. Apologies.
Except for the part that you actually get to watch a good Premier League matchup instead of watching Milan because they're pissing you off right now. But Scotty, Forest, Brighton. This is, Forest coming off their worst loss of the season, right?
Brighton coming off a bad loss too.
So Everton, much value here on Forest.
Yeah, Everton beating Brighton 1-0, on the road. That's you could make a case. You could maybe convince me that that's almost worse than losing at Bournemouth 5-0. With the way that Bournemouth have been playing this season, the way that they score, you let in a couple goals and you just kind of let your head down. That shit happens. So I can almost forgive the scoreline in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this one, it's a big bounce back for Forest. You get, you're coming home. Brighton's not your average Brighton team from the last 5 years or so. And how could they be after how many players they've lost? But yeah, I mean, prior to that game, I was saying that Forest, I think, had maybe the most underrated defense in the Premier League. It was, I think, second or third lowest in goals allowed until obviously conceding 5. But I'm still a believer in them. Chris Wood's been automatic for them. You can always count on him to get a goal, it seems, these days. And so I like Forest at home, plus money. That's a plus 145 is a big number. It feels almost a little too big. We talk about that sometimes where things get a little hairy and feel a little bit more confident in things when they're aligned with your expectations. Honestly, draw no bet, I'm getting minus 135. You could shop that around, and I'm sure you could probably get a little bit better. I don't even hate that. Brighton's going to score goals. That's usually their MO. But if Forest can nab 2 in this, I think that's enough for a win. 1, they could probably still win with the way that their defense has been playing up until Bournemouth. But I definitely see Forest more likely getting the result here, and I really like plus money for them at home.
Yeah, I love the plus money at home. I also like the draw no bet if you want a little protection at minus 135. I mean, Brighton, not as many lately over 2.5 type matches, and that's probably why the over underline is minus 115 either way right now. But I do think there's a little bit of value there if you think that we can get C3 goals. But I think to me the play is Forest in some way, shape, or form, because they've been too good this season to see them throwing up another clunker at home this time.
And it feels like this is kind of a key bounce back opportunity for them just to kind of keep that top four hopes alive. Because, we kind of already alluded there's a big match between Arsenal City coming in later. So somebody's going to drop points there. But if you start losing 2 on the bounce and then, questions start to pop up, you lose that confidence. That's been really, instrumental in getting you to this point. I think it's a pretty pivotal opportunity for them to get back on the right track.
So I think that's like an important thing there too, because they've lost 3 matches prior to that one, and they won 2 of them. The only other one was a draw against Chelsea after that. So they have bounced back relatively well from losses, but I'm not sure they suffered a loss like this one. I think it could always go one of 2 ways: toss out all the film, don't even look at anything, completely forget that match even happened to begin with, or that sticks with you a little bit, because it felt like they had a lot of momentum there, and there were teams out there that were still shaky, like they have been outside of Liverpool this year. So to kind of have that opportunity escape them, and Bournemouth is good this year too. I think they're a respectable side, but just the pummeling that they had, they probably had to feel so good about themselves. The draw against Liverpool, there was real momentum in their side, and like kind of what you're alluding to, Scotty, is like, how do they bounce back from that? And if they do drop points, is that a long-term effect? I think probably the total is the thing I like best. 2.5 at -115, and also I wouldn't even be so shy to say over 3.5. I think definitely has value too. A 4-goal game, I could definitely see happening here. They could be pressing to try and score a bit more because of what just happened to them. And listen, it's just a must-have at home, like you were talking about. And also, I don't know, they could be very susceptible to conceding.
2-2 the first head-to-head, so the goals.
Yeah, so exactly. So there you go. I feel like, just real quick, like the discrepancy between 2.5 and 3.5 is a big amount. -115 to 225 feels pretty big to me.
Yeah.
So I just think there's just value in that. And then I don't think they're really worth betting on the spread, because if they're offering -0.5 and it's at +130, then just take the 145 on the money line.
Yeah.
Or I would even rather take the draw no bet over that. But that's it. I am not touching any goal scorers or assist props, which I loved at the start of the year, but I have just been so cold on it. So I am staying away from that completely.
I think the books have obviously caught up to Chris Wood. I mean, we had a good run with Chris Wood.
+125, not enough value there, right?
Dude, I mean, that's as much respect as you're going to find in the league these days. I mean, there's still some players that get those, minus numbers, like the Hollands and the Salahs.
Holland sucks. Holland would get like +125 on a brace last year. It's not even fun.
Like this year, when he's not even playing that well, he's still like,
I know.
Has that same curse.
Because people like us want to be sneaky and try and get it at like a much better number, and they're just not offering it. I would talk to Nick all the time about it whenever he shows up. He'll tell you, be like, oh, look, Holland's dropping a little bit. He's like, hey, like in the -140 range.
Yeah, Nick is always trying to catch that falling knife. He's waiting for that number to come down. He's going to try to grab it.
All right. The 10 a.m. Saturday kicks off with there's a few games. We'll start with your side, Scott. Liverpool just won the Champions League stage, I guess, the inaugural 32 team league stage. That's best record, despite the loss against PSV with a much rotated side. So they will be well rested for this one. They travel to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, we just talked about it, hammered a Forest side that has been great all year. They're +360 on the money line at home. Obviously, Liverpool the favorites here. They're in the league table. -145 on Liverpool, so there is some value there. It's not super chalky for a side that usually doesn't get much value, but we'll defer to you first, because this is your side. I mean, Liverpool hasn't lost much. They did lose to a Forest side that just lost to Bournemouth. Is there a chance that we see Bournemouth come away with something? I didn't even look at the spread yet, but I think make of this?
I think the Bournemouth's strengths here kind of align with Liverpool's weakness a little bit. Defense has been shaky, although Konate's return has certainly helped. But there's stark lack of clean sheets for Liverpool in recent history. And Bournemouth like to score, and they're going to score quickly. So I think that kind of lends itself to being, a hard game to try to take. Liverpool being on the money line at -145 is just a little bit too outside of where I would like to take it. And I'm not going to advocate to take them -1 because I don't see them blowing out Bournemouth in this. But I think the good news is, there's still some value you can play in here. Both teams to score an over 2.5. It's a very popular one that we like. That's at -140. But I think you can probably take that and mix in with some other both teams to score around the league and get yourself maybe like a 2-match parlay that gets you some decent odds, because this one should be a high scoring game. I think the total was at 3.5 was like plus 110. So that could be another option, because I do think Liverpool are going to get a couple in this. They've been looking much better offensively. As you mentioned, Coach, the rest certainly helps. Salah, I think, had starting to show a little bit signs of fatigue because he just plays every single minute of every game. We also see how much better they play when Szoboszlai is out there, and he's a guy that just runs nonstop. So I think he actually ends up getting rotated more often than not. So I think with those two guys getting rested midweek, plus Diaz getting a little bit of a rest, should lend itself to Liverpool getting a couple. And I don't see them keeping a clean sheet here by any means, especially on the road. So over 3.5 plus 110, I like. If you want to just take something safer, the over 2.5 and both teams to score, it's -140. Watch it this week. It might move a little bit. But if not, you can always kind of mix it up with something else, another both teams to score in the league, and with a little 2-match parlay.
Yeah, another one to keep an eye on here. I'm seeing Justin Kluivert, red hot, goals in 4 straight. Former Roma great.
Right.
Plus
So-
230 on the anytime
Yeah.
goal scorer. So that there's some value there for a guy who's red hot. Not saying he's going to score for sure. There's no sure thing,
Right.
especially because he's not an out and out striker. But guy's hot right now, and plus 230 is pretty good value.
Kiesa's plus 225. So it's
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
Which is wild, right? Because Chiesa won't even start this match.
He's going to get, Chiesa will get maybe 5
How
to 7
many
minutes.
how
at the
many
end.
Premier League minutes has Chiesa had? I just know he scored in Carabao Cup. Like he's not even
He
really
he
a part of,
probably
like, important.
cumulative, I'd say like 60 to 70, because he does get in like the last 10 minutes and just runs around.
It was like
lately,
pity minutes.
so,
Yeah, they used to give to Harvey Elliott for a few years.
exactly.
Yeah, man. The total being set at 3.5 is not my vibe. For Liverpool, I think Nick also agrees with the same thing. Liverpool's either 5 or like low scoring.
Yeah.
And for me, that's kind of too risky at a number of 3.5. I think just Liverpool money line straight up because of the rest that they've had. Even when they're resting, they had an opportunity to win. I just think they're fully integrated into what this team is. It's really fascinating to see how they did not skip a beat while there was this managerial change.
Yeah.
I can never recall something like this. And there probably are examples in the past, but just this ability to just transition as a whole and not really skip a beat. I'm trying not to jinx them, Scotty, but it's just a really impressive feat to have. And I'm just going to respect that consistency, because you could just hop in when Liverpool is this good, right? Because I think people are always raising these questions. Are they that good? We're waiting for the slip up. And then you could be kicking yourself in the ass in 2 weeks from now when you're like, I didn't take Liverpool at -145.
That's fair. I mean, that's a very Nick thing to say as soon as Nick hops on.
Whatever it was, I agree.
Team at the top of the table at a very good number money line, -140. It's hard to pass up. Yeah, I mean, they're at Bournemouth, which is like, that's the rub. Liverpool are playing at Bournemouth. Bournemouth been one of the hotter teams in Premier League in the past 2 months.
Didn't they just hang up 4, 5 on Forest?
5 on Forest,
Third.
4 on Newcastle the week before.
It's all behind Coach's boy Kluivert. So
Yeah,
Roma legend.
yeah.
Tino, what's up, dude?
Yeah. What's going on, brother?
All right, moving on. We have Newcastle hosting Fulham here. This is another match where you can get the favorite at -145. Newcastle at home. They are on a great run, except for that Bournemouth shellacking that they took. It's nothing but green W's if you go down their recent fixture list outside of the 4-1 loss two weekends ago. So is Newcastle trustworthy enough against Fulham here at -145 at home? Is that a little too chalky for you? Do you have a different angle on this match?
I'll give you the angle. It's Newcastle and over 1.5 at -105 because they should absolutely be winning at home. Isak has been a man on a mission. He's been scoring at will.
Unbelievable.
Newcastle's offense has really been much better in recent weeks. So they're not going to win this game 1-0. Fulham, I could even see them getting on the score sheet. Honestly, they aren't great. Whenever Nick and I bet them, they usually play like shit. But I do like Newcastle at home, and I think getting the over 1.5 is a pretty much safe bet to get that money or to get that close to the money line.
So Isak's up to what, 17 goals now? Not even the league leader,
Salah,
which is
him,
insane. He's starting to get -150, -200 numbers to score goals. Like, so books are putting respect on his name. He's a fantastic player, man. He's really, really good.
Hopefully Newcastle can hang on to him. Right, Oaks? Don't want him being a victim of.
I don't know who could afford him at this rate or what they would ask.
Right.
Arsenal.
No disrespect to Marmoush, but Marmoush is going for 80. Like Isak's like scoring at an incredible rate. Yeah. Especially at that position where it's a premium. I mean, Isak's been one of those guys I've definitely been betting on. I've been taking Newcastle quite often. I think the lack of competition and Tonali really being a key cog for them is this main difference. I think the money line here and over 1.5 is a great play.
I like that play too. Yeah.
2.5 is it's juicy. It's like -160. So I don't think that's really something I'll mess with. Over 1.5. That's what I also did last week, but I'm an idiot and I like to just add another leg. So I think I did Newcastle over 1.5 and Isak goal. So because that combo's just been so insane because if Newcastle is winning games, he's pretty much involved.
If they're scoring too, he's probably getting something, right?
Yeah, it's just they're that good. And even Murphy's been a really consistent scorer for them. As of late, he kind of popped out of nowhere. I had no idea about him as a player. I think they're just a well-oiled machine and back to where Newcastle was prior to their drop-off last year.
Yeah. Next one, Everton, -125 at home, coming off a win, hosting
Don't look
Leicester.
now.
Yeah, is this the time to hop on the Everton bandwagon, at least for a week, against a struggling Leicester side?
So let's see. 2 wins in a row for Everton. 1 point behind Tottenham with a game in hand. Did you ever think you would be hearing that?
Not this season.
It's tough. I mean, I told you guys, I tried saying it last week. For whatever reason, David Moyes and Everton, 2 things that are by themselves not very good, but when they come together, for whatever reason, it works.
Claudio Ranieri and Roma, right?
Oh, there we go.
Sorry,
why we have
been there 5 times.
But I don't know that I mean, Leicester, they're I don't know how you classify them. They're a spunky team. Is that maybe like the best way to say it? Like they're always going to give you a good shot, and it's going to be whether or not you can withstand it. And so that's maybe where I kind of back off Everton a little bit here, because if Leicester come out and they get a cheap counterattack goal or something, does Everton have enough to get on the front foot and actually like pressure Leicester's net and have enough offensive output to get a win from that?
I mean, they've got Beto, who works hard, Scott. So
he'll work really hard.
When was the last? Like, I forgot he even existed, and I used to tweet about this dude weekly. Like, when was the last time he featured?
I don't even know.
Couldn't tell you.
Did they spend like $30 million for him?
Highway robbery.
I think it's insane because that's just like a record for a lot of.
Well, he scored in the FA Cup on January 9th against Peterborough United.
Other than that, right?
Nice.
He scored back in October against Fulham in a 1-1 draw. Other than that's it. Except for an EFL Cup game against Doncaster.
And then Broya's hurt. he's never healthy anymore. That's unfortunate for his career.
A straw for ACLs.
Leicester, they suck. Like, make no mistake about it. They're terrible, I think. But they have this little bit of moxie and attitude to them because of. I think that like you were saying. I think that has to do with Van Nistelrooy being the manager. Mm-hmm. I think just having respect for a figurehead like that, and Vardy anytime. I mean, like
especially
what
when
he
they
did
play Spurs.
The amount of pride in his bones. Like, I know it might be a little bit dramatic, but that boosts morale 100%. Just because they have to feel like they actually belong at that point. Like, of course, Spurs is the best medicine all the time. My question is, Everton getting a little bit of expectation now because they're doing this well. Does that get to them?
That's kind of why I want to hop off the Everton bandwagon, because I don't know, I would take the money line at -125, given that they still have offensive struggles. And if Leicester gets a goal, like I don't want to bet on Everton -125 to get potentially 2 goals. So money line at -125 is just not it for me.
This is the Everton game. Like just when they get you to believe a little bit that you should bet on them, that's when they shit the bed at home to I guess we'll say worst team, right? Leicester's a worst team, I think, by every measurable metric. So exactly the game that they fumble. I think the draw at +260 is worth a look in this one.
That's a good one. Honestly, even Everton under 1.5 at home, -120, if they get that first goal, like they're not gonna be pressing for a second. They'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm not in the mode of like rooting for under 1.5. It's not fun.
It's not fun. But
No,
sometimes you got to do it to make money.
Oh, that's gross.
That is a terrible watch when you have to do that.
Well, I mean, if you're watching Everton Leicester, it's not a.
No, that's true. Yeah,
exactly
I won't be watching the match.
with.
So yeah, so I shouldn't act like I'm going to watch this match. But all right, moving on to Ipswich Southampton. Talk about teams that need results. Ipswich more than Southampton at this point, because I think Southampton is done and dusted on 6 points. For Ipswich, this is a big 3 points on the line, considering if Leicester loses to Everton or doesn't win, really, and they get a win, they jump out of the relegation places. Depends what happens with Wolves, too. They can move ahead 2 sides. This is an opportunity for Ipswich. They can't mess up at home at -105. I'm not saying they're a lock, but from like just saving themselves standpoint, this is one they cannot drop.
I mean, they've taken a beating. I mean, no one's had a worse or harder schedule than Ipswich the last 2 weeks. Playing City and then Liverpool back to back, giving up 10 goals between the 2 matches. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to overuse the phrase bounce back game, but at least after that beating, they get lowly Southampton. So they should be able to get a win or something in this. Like, what's the draw no bet line for them? Oh no, it's terrible. -230. Yeah, I don't know. It's you really would have to just pinch your nose and take the money line at -105. I cannot see Southampton, that as bad as they are, like arguably one of the worst teams in Premier League in the last like 2 decades.
Yeah, 6 points is pretty bad.
Getting a win on the road in a game that's basically a 6-pointer in the relegation battle, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
BTTS.
Yeah, I was just gonna go there.
It's usually
because you were talking,
-150.
Which is a pretty solid. And again, like you were mentioning, was it the Liverpool game? Excuse me if I forgot which one. But to parlay with, sorry to bring that up, Nick. But BTTS with this, I think
both teams
absolutely. Like Southampton's so desperate. I think they've been playing games close. I do actually like Ipswich moneyline second half. I think that Southampton have been playing certain teams relatively close. Like results wise, they're not there. They're never going to get there this season. It's over with. Excuse me. Shit, I lost my voice. So you just take it away at that point.
Both teams to score, no draw. It's kind of right there, +145.
All right, so to Martino had a great callback. I gave Bournemouth and Liverpool both teams to score and over 2.5, which was like -140. That's you could parlay that with another both teams to score. If you parlay that with this one, it's +180. So if you really want to do a nice little 2-match parlay, I think that's a pretty good spot.
1-1 draw the first matchup, I believe I saw. So
hey, I blindly like overs in any relegation 6-pointer. Like I think both teams go for it at all times. So yeah, I'm with you.
All right. The late match on Saturday, 12:30 Eastern time, is Wolves hosting Villa. Villa ended up drawing that match yesterday against Celtic. What was the final score in the
2-2, right?
2-2, right? Yeah.
Did they?
So
no, they won. Didn't they score goals late?
Oh, they scored late.
Yeah,
right, because they came into 8th place. Yeah, they scored 2 goals late.
Yeah, damn, you guys! I thought I was taking crazy pills.
No, I missed the ending. I didn't.
Hey man, I missed the first match of this episode, so no worries.
Oaks confirmed 4-2 Villa. So
I'm thinking of the Atalanta game.
Yes, Atalanta with the comeback. All right, so Wolves +235 at home on the money line, and Villa +110. Obviously, fatigue could be a bit of an issue with Villa having to win against Celtic in the midweek. Wolves needs points desperately. I mean, is this a match where Villa at plus 110 is too good to be true? Yes,
they are dangling it right in front of you to take it, and for Villa to be fucking garbage.
Wolves haven't won a game in 5 weeks, and they've scored 1 goal in their last 4.
So
I know Aston Villa's defense is garbage, but
yes,
plus 110 is.
Well, they're also losing Duran as well.
They're losing Duran. That's fair.
And it's
Ollie Watkins hasn't scored since Beto.
Yeah, it's the new Beto. Some are saying.
Oh God. I think it's bait. I think Nick's right. I think it's bait.
Yeah,
but it's really good bait. It smells good, looks good.
Yeah.
Could I be tempted if the morning goes well to take it?
I was just gonna say, ask me how my morning was going at the 9 and 10 a.m. slots, whatever in these leagues. And
well,
then
look at Oaks coming through with stats. Villa away is garbage, and I'm just tired of every single week. Whenever they play, whoever they're playing, wherever they are, we're in the group chat, and I'm like, Villa, and Scott says it every week, Villa fraud watch, and I'm like, yeah, their defense is fucking terrible. So I know Wolves aren't anything special. Obviously, they're in the relegation zone. They've lost 5 in a row. I get that, but I just do not trust Villa. They're not worthy of a bet. That's just kind of where I end it.
Yeah, dude, 2 clean sheets since
I think
October
over 1.5, probably. I think you could also toss this one for both teams to score. At that point, Wolves are so weird. I think they're one of the weirder teams to bet.
Yeah.
I usually stay away from them. But I don't know. I think seeing what those statistics are in terms of Villa's road record, and Nick, you're saying they suck on defense, like, dude, then who? Like, I would just go for it. I would take the over 1.5 even as well. What is that even at?
Good
minus
parlay
500. Yeah, but
good parlay.
2 goals in the Prem, dude. Like you're not asking that much.
No, Wolves only have 2 less goals scored than Villa too. It's not like Villa's been lighting the fucking lamp.
No, they just score bangers when they do.
So buyer beware on Villa. That's the lesson here.
That's where I'm at. Proceed with caution. If somebody wins, kudos. Share your ticket. We're proud of you.
Moving on to Sunday, early match, there's 2 early matches, 9 a.m. Man United hosting Palace, Brentford hosting Spurs. Spurs and United both playing in the Europa League today. United plus 105 at home hosting Palace. Spurs plus 215 on the road at Brentford. I mean, what do we make of these teams? These are 2 teams that have been underwhelming in the league so far.
Yeah.
One manager change already. Maybe another manager in the hot seat there.
I love the under 2.5 in United Palace.
Okay.
Talked about how bad United's forwards are. I don't trust them to score. Palace have been pretty terrible this season. They've had their one good period where they've gotten 70% of their points in those 3 or 4 games, but I don't consider them a team that's going to put up 2 goals on United here. So I like the under 2.5. I think you might see 1 goal in this game.
So I just looked. Palace has had 3 straight clean sheets against United. A 0-0 draw earlier this year. They thumped United 4-0 in May last year and beat them 1-0 at Old Trafford in September of last year. So it's 3 straight clean sheets.
Dude, I mean, I was going to say, just when you thought Palace was going to go on a little bit of a run, they shit the bed last week. I mean, they've been on a run. They've been playing better. But I'm going to paraphrase what Martino said when I hopped on. Spurs were the best medicine. United could be the best medicine. I'm not saying
better.
Palace get it done, but if there was a spot for them away, this isn't that bad.
Palace have beaten West Ham with 10 men. They've beaten Leicester. They drew Chelsea. They beat Southampton. And they beat... that's their run the last 4 weeks.
I wish Palace would get +1 because I would be all over that. But they're only a +0.5.
I wouldn't even touch this game with a 10 football, to be honest.
That's fair.
United have been so annoying. I've honestly bet a good amount of their overs just because of I've had thought their defense was so horrendous. But the individual quality always saw them get a goal. But naturally, the games I had been betting on them recently, they've been horrific. Looks like they're keeping most of their guys too. I don't think Rashford's gone at this point. I don't think anyone's going to take him.
I think they want him, but can't get rid of him.
They started a pretty robust lineup today. Did they even need to do that? They were away to where'd they go to Hungary or some shit?
Yeah, Garnacho and Mainu had a great game today. But even those guys showing up, I feel like the only two United players I can depend upon are Bruno Fernandes and obviously Diallo at this point. I think Diallo is just so money. He's been incredible. He's even priced like it as well. I think he's like the favorite to score. No, sorry. He's just behind Philip Matete, but I wouldn't touch it. I can't stand United in this fucking team. They're a disgrace.
And I will say, I think the reason why you want to stay away from this is I think the Brentford Tottenham game is a much better match to pick on. Brentford at home at +110 against this struggling Tottenham side is unbelievable numbers. I think they're getting a little bit of getting penalized a little bit for their home record just in the last month, but they played Liverpool, City, and Arsenal and Forest within their last 4 home games, lost 3, drew 1. Prior to that, their first 8 home games to start the season, they won 7, drew 1. I don't put Tottenham in the same echelon as those 4 clubs right now for good reason. And like you said, Nick, Tottenham cures all ills. So Brentford at home at +110, I think they kind of get out of that brutal home stretch they had and get back into their winning ways.
That's such a funny number.
Yeah. Listen, I think if anybody wanted to take a stab at over 3.5, this could be the game to do it. Brentford, I've been amazed about this 3 weeks in a row. Brentford has the 3rd most goals scored in the Premier League, or 4th most goals. They've been doing the thing. And Tottenham can't stop anybody. They couldn't stop the 4 of us from getting a goal. So over 3.5 doesn't look that bad.
All right, that brings us to the big match of the weekend. It's Arsenal hosting City. Arsenal +105 on the money line. City +260. Had to come from behind on the midweek just to salvage their Champions League campaign. We've talked about plenty how they've had their struggles this year. This is a big one for them with the way the table looks.
We just said coming on
sitting 4th now, level on points, same amount of matches played, just a few goals up in the goal differential category on Newcastle. I mean, top 5 is looking likely for the Premier League at this point for Champions League places, but there's Chelsea sitting a point behind. There's Bournemouth sitting a point behind. A loss this weekend, and they could find themselves in 6th place. So what do you make of this one? I mean, obviously, if Arsenal wants to stay in the title race, they probably need this too. Who needs it more? Who do you see coming out on top?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that Nick is here now because we kind of talked about this a little bit before we went live. And I said, I think this is a must win for both teams. I think it's kind of a loser leaves town in terms of title race, right?
Yes.
City, if you lose this and Liverpool gets something out of Bournemouth, you're going to be 12, 13 points back. With Liverpool having a game in hand. And I think that pretty much is, a dust or a wrap on that. Arsenal, I mean, yeah, you can lose and still be within, 6 or 7 points of Liverpool, but you just lost a big opportunity with one of Liverpool's harder matches left going at Bournemouth. And I think, Arsenal aren't exactly the same team as City in terms of how they close out the seasons. Usually Arsenal have the wheels fall off in April, and City seems to get stronger as the weather gets warmer. So I think, at home, Arsenal, you need to make a statement here. You need to win. I don't know that I would personally like to bet that right now, given, their own offensive struggles. They do most of their scoring on set pieces. We've talked about it the past couple of weeks. My question is, is City rebounding? Obviously, they've had a couple good results, back-to-back, turned around the Club Brugge match in the second half with 3 second-half goals, brought in some reinforcements. Marmoush is going to get settled in. Draw no bet City +160. That's a crazy number. If City are really turning things around, you're not going to get anything close to that for the rest of the season.
Didn't think that's where Scotty was going. Go ahead, Martino. Give your thoughts, please.
Yeah, a guy, Holland plus money. It did catch my eye because we were just talking about this earlier. Because he's never priced like this.
Ever.
That's just one of those things. Like +175, +190 is even a better number, but 175 on DraftKings. I mean, honestly, like we're talking about one of the best goal scorers of a generation.
Havertz is getting the same number. Insane.
Yeah, he's that good. I think this will be low scoring. I think this is going to be a really nails type of game. I do favor City in general. If I were to take even a draw no bet or just a regular money line. Arsenal, for me right now, they're a little shaky. I think this is a match that they slip up in. And also, this point of the season, this is kind of where you could see City transition and propel themselves ahead of Arsenal. And it could start with a match like this. And And again, they handled their business. Marmoush didn't play midweek. I'm remembering everything I said at the beginning of the episode, but yeah, at that point, it's just really good to have City at a number like that too. I don't think Arsenal deserves that line number of plus 105. I don't think they've earned that this year in the Premier League. They're beating up on the sides that they should beat up on, but in terms of big time performances, they just scraped by in that one. What do you want to say about the red card or whatever? They just pulled a rabbit out of their hat. It's not like they were playing very well. And at that point, they were also down. I think it was Wolves, right? That were also down a man. Yeah. So it's not like they had an eternity down a man too. There was a decent amount in that game where they were playing even. And it really took like pretty much a miracle goal for them to get anything. For me, I'm not really on Arsenal like that. I think this is kind of where they hit their lull, and the absence of Saka hurts them greatly.
And the number for Arsenal, like it's crazy that like plus 105, you can find a lot of other picks in this match that are basically even money that I feel like are just easier wins. Like Marmoush, anytime shot on target right now is basically even money. He's minus 105. You can probably find it around similar to Arsenal money line. And I'd rather take that if you're just looking for a simple 1-to-1 bet.
Right. Now or never for Arsenal. Now or never. This is the game. I say this. No, but I've been saying this for 2 seasons of the podcast now. When's Arsenal going to have that statement win? And this isn't even really a statement win for them because City's been shit. So, like, if you can't beat City at home now in the state that they're in, this Arsenal team's never doing it. They're never doing anything. You could dismantle the team. You could do whatever. This is like your one chance. And then guess what? If you do it and you impress me, you got fucking Liverpool ahead of you. So I don't know. Like what? Arsenal is nothing to me right now, man. So
they're fugazi. They're fugazi.
100%.
They didn't add anything to this core to put themselves ahead. Like you see how City's in a crisis essentially,
well,
and the worst that they've been
Liverpool.
Yeah,
but Arsenal don't have a forward. Like they don't have a striker.
But Liverpool is like it's still like that foundation on their Klopp is just it's different, right? But I know what you're saying. Ultimately, they didn't add to any of this, and not only that, their best player is missing. That shit matters in games like this. Like he's the only one to maybe drag them over the top. He's not even there. It's questionable if he's capable of doing that. And they put in like half-ass bids for Ollie Watkins when they know they're selling their other best player. So to me, that signals I'm not serious. And I'm not serious can trickle down to the players. He gets to the dressing room. I wouldn't even be so surprised to see Arteta lose his job.
I was going to say he's running out of tricks.
It's not because I agree with it, just because of the reaction of what this ownership is. They don't know actually the gravity of the moment where you have to push all your chips to the table. I'm losing my voice again. Just take it.
No. I think you're spot on, dude. And again, he hasn't really elevated the program. They are who they've been, which is very good, which is aesthetically pleasing at times, which is we could pretend like we're contending, and then February comes around and you're not. So like that's where we kind of are again. But Arsenal plus 105 at home, like again, if I'm following the odds, I think they can get a win in this game. Have I ever seen City at plus 260 in the last 5-10 years? No. Have I seen Haaland at plus 200? No. Should you take it? Probably. I'm not going to knock you for taking it, but like
you kind of have to take Haaland, right? When you get that number,
you have to take Haaland. That's a no question. That dude plays 90 minutes every game, right? So like you're going to get your chances. But yeah, no, like Arsenal has to win this. You have to win this game if you're Arsenal. Like you have to. City, it doesn't really matter. It just kind of doesn't. Like, oh, City lost again. Okay, cool. They lost to Wolves and they lost to Juve and they lost to whoever. What doesn't matter. Arsenal has to win this game.
Yeah, there's infinitely more pressure because City's done it anyways. Like they're not to say like they're allowed to have a season like this, but
absolutely
if there's a team in this, like
absolutely
shit happens.
They are.
Just like the year Liverpool won the league. Liverpool was great that year. Don't get me wrong. They were still riddled with injuries the entire year. So they're not like, I agree with you in that sense too, where if they were to lose points, it's all right. Because if they could play, they're good enough to rebound and get consistent points. And they kind of know if they just stabilize their season, they'll be happy. And you never know as long as you just take it match by match. I think they turned the corner. But yeah, I get where you're coming from with Arsenal. They could be going all in for this. I think they care more about this than City does, for sure.
They have to. They absolutely have to, or you could dismantle that entire team, top to bottom.
All right. And the match day closes out with Chelsea hosting West Ham on Monday. Chelsea big favorites at home. West Ham apparently put in a bid for Ricardo Pepi, turned down 25 million euros by PSV.
I don't even think he would be able to pass the medical now. They're saying he had a serious knee injury.
Pepi
against Liverpool.
Yeah, Ricardo Pepi. Yeah.
That's rough.
Did I miss
terrible?
Yeah, no. Yeah, they're saying like they're expecting him to miss the rest of the season. Swear to God.
Oh shit!
Pull it up for you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a shame because
I mean, this is what I'll say. I don't have a bet in this game because I'm just kind of over Chelsea. I'm kind of over them. Like they're annoying. I don't like them. I don't know what they're doing. Are they top 2? Are they top 8? I don't care. I have zero care about Chelsea and less care about West Ham.
I was gonna say I care about West Ham even less right now. They're just a big nothing team. They used to be a fun team to watch because they were pretty cohesive in attack and they would be at least competent in midfield, but they're just all over the place now. And honestly, like, watching them play, aside from maybe like Jared Bowen, I don't see anybody on that team that's like
even
that worthy of. Go ahead, Nick.
No, even him. Like, okay.
I guess Kudus. Maybe that's the other one, but he's so inconsistent.
The
he has
one
so
thing
much
I'll
ability,
say,
but he doesn't deliver.
Like, if you're going to tune into a game to watch somebody like Cole Palmer, to me is that good. Like he is exceptionally good. I like Cole Palmer. It'd be cool if he went to a different team. He's not. Spot.
I love Jackson goal or assist. I think he's really grown this year. I really like this player. I never bet him to score because he is a horrible finisher by all accounts.
Yeah.
But he is getting better. I just think what he's able to just provide in general in terms of his runs, overlaps, he's always involved in something. And it's just a really sound player to kind of take that. I agree on the same thing with Palmer. Palmer is just insane. This is just a player that can win you a game at any moment. And I don't know what Reece James's situation is currently, but if Reece James is just on the pitch, regardless of his Zion-esque tendencies of not taking care of his body and being out of shape, this guy makes an impact constantly. I'm not saying bet anything with him. I just feel a lot better about Chelsea in general when he's on the field because I think he's that much of a difference maker. But yeah, West Ham are a joke. Every single time I kind of like see them, it's just kind of this Paqueta show, and their defense is just very fugazi, and their strikers, like you were saying, Mohamed Kudus is as talented as he is very inconsistent. I think that's also a big reason as to why they're in the spot that they're in. So yeah, for me, I think this is where Chelsea, again, kind of like Arsenal, no excuses, have to win this one, have to get the 3 points, because I think where Chelsea still have a shot to get in this top 4 situation or get back in. I think they could take that spot from Forest, and I think it could start with a win like this.
Well put.
Yeah, I think they've been just playing so well.
Paqueta plus 150 to get a card. Just saying, like that's always available to you.
Favorite pick.
Harry Rozier, what up, right?
Hey, my man, too. Legend.
All right, that'll wrap the Premier League. Heading over to Serie A, which actually kicks off on Friday tomorrow afternoon. It's Parma hosting Lecce.
Wait,
my first thought when
minus 110 Oaks to throw Parma money line in the chat. Minus 110.
I instantly thought both teams would score. It's currently at minus 155, though. It's not the nicest number. But it was a 2-2 draw the first time these teams met. Neither team has kept a clean sheet recently. Feels like
Lecce needs it, dude. They fell off the fucking face of the earth. Like what?
Both teams need it, right? Parma's in the relegation zone now. It's on goal differential.
Yeah, and they just lost the biggest heartbreaker of the year, probably. Against Milan. The fact that Milan even won that was just stupid.
Yes, threw away 3 points in that match.
And they were in that sort of position. Man, I think them on the counter, they're still very good. I think Parma's a respectable side.
Parma, I know they haven't gotten than Lecce. Lecce's got the, I think, few scores in the league. 15. Yeah, 15 goals.
Lecce had that tendency of being those giant slayers for a bit. And then they haven't been able to do that. Shocker, that's not sustainable. I think of both teams to score, you could talk me into, and maybe parlay it with something else.
Yeah,
I don't feel that strongly about a winner in this one though.
It's hard to separate these teams because they're both so poor, right? And they're inconsistent, and you don't know when they're going to show up. And
seems like a 2-1 game.
Yeah, I feel like the both teams to score, and then parlay with maybe another both teams to score somewhere that's at, maybe too chalky of a number might be the way to go here.
So what I would say in that instance, just my thought, my betting process, I'll take a little bit of risk off of that, and I'll parlay over 1.5 with another over 1.5 because Parma winning 2-0 is just as likely as a 1-1 game. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Just in this specific instance, like this type of game, if you're getting an over 1.5 around like -300, you parlay with another -300 to get even money. Just my 2 cents.
Master at that.
Yeah,
makes sense. Saturday's match that kicks it off, also featuring basically a relegation 6-pointer. Said, really piling them on this weekend.
Yeah, Steve with the enthusiasm right now. Jeez.
I looked. I'm like, whoa, like 16 versus 18. Now we've got 17 versus 20. Monza starting to claw their way back up a little bit, but they're still 7 points out of salvation. Verona is in the in safety by goal differential right now. Get that at minus 23. I don't know. I don't know how that. I don't know if they beat Parma head-to-head. I'm not sure how that works because their goal differential is worse than Parma. So I don't know how.
Didn't Monza just play Hellas like this past weekend? Like, do I have that fucked up? Like, didn't they just play each other? I could swear they did.
They played somebody bad, but I don't know. So
Genoa and Monza faced Genoa and then,
same shit.
Venezia.
Dude, this is absolutely what a garbage run of games to start off the weekend.
Yeah,
Udinese Venezia is the other one.
That's the other 9 a.m. match. Yeah, I'll just say that too. We might as well say it all while we're here. I mean, Udinese Venezia is the other 9 a.m. Saturday match. So, I mean, I guess you get the shit out of the way early, but
I don't really have anything to give anybody.
I think Udinese will win that one.
I was just going to say at minus 120. That's not a bad number on them at home against the Venezia side. That's pretty poor, sitting in 19th place.
So here's the other thing I'll say. I have to imagine it's the first time all year that Monza has been a favorite. So that would lead me to believe Monza at home could win this game. It's Hellas also. Fucking stink. So
over 1.5?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I have it pulled up. I have a 3. I know I'm going against the rules. But
there's no
Parma
rules.
Lecce both to score. Udinese at home and over 1.5 in Monza Verona. I think Monza trying to get more juice. I think that there's going to be a few goals in this game.
Have to.
And that comes out to plus 380 or 317. Sorry.
Hey.
So I kind of like that.
Because if you have to watch these games, you might as well.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. You took the words out of my mouth. If you have to watch this, at least make it a little bit exciting for a big payout. This is one of those, if it's Saturday morning and you have something to do, you're like, oh shit, I'd rather go do chores than watch all these games and just
get all the laundry out of the way Saturday morning so you could enjoy Sunday when the good matches are hopefully on.
It's 25 degrees outside, but I'll go mow the lawn.
Yeah. All right. Midday Saturday, Atalanta hosting Torino. Atalanta big favorites minus 250. Should be feeling pretty good about themselves with the comeback that they had against Barca to draw that one. I don't know what you see here. They've been a little bit more inconsistent in the league lately, Atalanta, but
their defense isn't very good.
No, it's not. Again, they did the thing where they didn't make the leap. It's really what it is. I think this is kind of your standard, Atalanta's good enough. I think Lookman's going to be out for a month.
Yes, he's out for a bit. Yes,
it's a big loss. They're trying to get Maldini, like Ahmed had mentioned. So with that, Torino as well. I don't buy into the reports, but there were a lot of them heating up about Ricci or whatever, however you say it.
Yeah.
To me, if he's gone too, I think it drastically changes. I think this is one of those games where there's players on both sides that could be moving or coming in, that you just wait till like 30 minutes before, see what the lines are at. Obviously, you like always monitor that kind of stuff.
No.
But if you see something pop up later, that sale's about to happen, or I don't know about you guys. Like this time of the year, it's very interesting in terms of betting. Yeah, Ahmed is just I don't know what's wrong with him. One week he's very manic as a fan.
It's my guy.
He's the best though. But it's very weird that these time of years, like if you know how to read like reporting and you could tell and decipher what's actual legitimate news and what's bullshit in Italian soccer, you have an advantage with betting, because if you
because there's a lot of bullshit out there.
There is a lot of bullshit, and if the right reporters are saying that Ricci would go to like Milan for a certain number, and they're making moves for other midfielders, Torino, you could pick up on that. Then to me, that's a huge absence. There's no way they win this game if that's the case. Right. I think they need him involved just to have a shot. Atalanta played great against Barca as well. Is Nicky's boy Scamacca back in yet for this?
Is he?
He's
supposed to training. I don't know if he's back like in the match.
They're still saying early March. Yeah. Sorry, because I thought maybe he'd be around like start of February. But either way, Retegi's a beast. I don't even know what he's valued at.
Yeah. So good, plus 120.
Are you worried at all with no Lookman though?
No,
about his production.
So honestly, I'm not.
CDK's there too, right? And he's been having a hell of a year.
It's not even that, man. Like you see, so Martino, you made a really good point about waiting for lineups. If anybody who watches knows this, if you're new to the show, just tuning in because you like Martino, we appreciate that too. I am a huge fan of trying to pick the best number as early as I possibly can. Atalanta is not the team to do that with. Atalanta, like, wait for the lineup because they can switch their entire fucking 11 at any given time. They're one of the very few teams in Italy that can do that. They have a manager that has the balls to do that. I've seen them run out 70% of their bench and put up 4 goals. So this is not a game you need to get involved in early. But for Teggy starts, could you take him as your best bet rather than taking Atalanta minus 250? Of course. CDK has been good. You mentioned it. I think they've gotten goals from just about everywhere.
Samardzic really looked like he's coming into his own in the system,
and they need that badly.
He's grown in so much confidence as late.
I heard ain't the answer.
Zaniolo, by the way, like that, just like that kind of seems like that's not going to end well, that relationship. He's been complaining about minutes. Like he's such a fascinating moron in how he handles himself. Be grateful that you even got the opportunity to get a position to be on this team. You were in Turkey recently and you're complaining about minutes when you know your legs can't handle it. He annoys me as just a personality. Sorry. Yeah, man. I mean, Retegi just feels like that kind of guy that you can't bet against right now. Plus 120 is like pretty good.
How about the total over 2.5? Minus 115. I don't think I've seen it like that for an Atalanta game.
You know what it is? It's at Torino's
for Torino.
So
that's fine.
Yeah, but they've scored a decent amount this year. I mean, they're scoring a goal a game. That's a lot for them.
Yeah,
but they're only conceding a goal a game, right?
I'm with you.
No, they're conceding a decent amount.
Okay, but so that's 2 goals.
Their defense is in line with Bologna.
Yeah, I mean Torino and Atalanta both just over a goal a game. So I mean.
Torino, when they play the bigger opponents, play like the ratty Italian teams.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it, because sometimes they'll play open like football against some of the crap sides, and then you'll be like, "Where's this?" Like kind of what they were just last game. What was it against Genoa? They played very well. I thought it was pretty impressive. They've done that even against Milan. I don't know how much you want to take away from that, but certain teams they do that, but then they get so ratty. They'll sit back.
They drew Juve.
Yeah.
Yeah, who hasn't?
Who hasn't?
I know, Nick.
I love it. No, he set me up. That's an alley-oop. You got to do it.
All right. Speaking of Bologna Como is the last game on Saturday. Bologna at home minus 120, hosting this Como side that is trying to avoid relegation themselves. They're now up to 13th, but still only 2 points clear. There's a lot of teams separated by 2 points or less between 18th and 13th. So, don't read into too much into 13th because it is a mess down there. But what do we make of this one? Bologna finished with their Champions League campaign now, going to focus on the league. Trying to get back into Europe, and this feels like one that they need to have at home to kind of make that push for top 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. They need to have it. They should have it. They're a better team than Como. I think Orsolini's still hurt, which obviously sucks for me as a viewer, but hurts the team. But they have a lot of capable guys that they're just like itching for somebody to step up here. I think they've all been decently good. Like Castro, I talked about him with Oaks this week on the Champions League shows. For 19 years old, he looks incredibly good, right? This guy got thrown into a starting position basically at the start of the year, and he's figured it out along the way. Really solid player. I think Odegaard does a lot of good things, and Doy, when he feels like it, does a lot of good things. Their midfield is solid. Ferguson's back. That's huge for them. They just don't score with any consistency. That's kind of what worries me. They could have a game where they score 2 goals. I think they scored 2 on like Roma. I think they scored 2 on a couple of other big teams. But then they'll have a game where they score nothing. So yeah. I just don't like Como's going to sit back. It's going to be tough. Like I don't know that I agree with the odds in this one. I think that it's going to be tough. They shouldn't be favorites.
Score numbers are huge.
And listen,
Paz plus 475.
Yeah, anytime he's around plus 500, he's worth a bet. Like he'll score once every 5 games minimum. This kid is nasty. So Nico Paz, goal scorer, absolutely with you.
And even Castro, who Ahmed is shouting out, plus 240 it has the lowest odds, right?
Yeah.
He has the shortest odds. So there's definitely value in goal scores if you think you could pick out a goal scorer here. And Paz, I mean, I watched him against Roma. He looked really good.
He's awesome.
Oaks
for sure.
He looked really good against Atalanta. Like, the kid is good.
Strafetz is also a guy Martino and I both like. Really, really solid. Doesn't score a lot, but makes a lot happen.
I was going to say 12 straight matches in Serie A where Como has had over 1.5 goals in their games. So there's always goals to be had. They've been doing that. Castro, I mean, Sartori's contract is expiring, their director. So the fact that like he might even be available, a hint to a team. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think you're right. Ultimately it's Bologna that kind of worries me a bit with the scoring. Castro's insane, as you've mentioned. I think that's just a super talent. I hear he keeps growing every week. I haven't been able to watch too much of them.
He's grown 3 inches since the start of the year. Yeah.
You know who's kind of impressed me in general? Cutrone, man. Honestly, I think he looks like a much different player than when you first saw him come up with Milan. He was terrible technically, a terrible technical player. Just a classic poacher sort of goal. I think his link-up play has been great. Nico Paz is like incredible. Also, like if you have a book that offers goals where he could score outside the box or something like that, I would take that for Paz because he has one of the best technical abilities. I would safe to say that he is the best player outside the top 10 in the league, easily. I don't think there's another player that would even cross my mind. He's that talented. Even Real Madrid are going to take him back now, apparently.
No doubt.
And this he scored in 3 of his last 4 matches that he's played in. He's
plus 500 every game.
3 of them.
So score or assist is plus 200.
Yeah, silly.
So I think that's a great number. Again, if you don't feel that comfortable with those odds for scoring, plus 200 for scoring or assist for a player like this is a phenomenal number.
Yeah. It's a better number than you get at most goal scorers for anytime goals.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're usually in that, like for good players, productive players, like a CDK, for example, you're going to get around like, depending on the opponent, like anywhere between, minus 130 to like minus 170, which is always great to kind of put in a parlay, I think. But for a player of this capability to be priced at that, it's probably the number one thing that catches my eye.
Shocking to me that he's plus 475 coming off back-to-back goals. I mean, his match rating on SofaScore last week against Atalanta was an 8.4.
Did you see the goal?
I don't think I saw it. It was effort where Ortega scored the other 2.
Steve, honestly, it was disgusting.
Yeah,
it's one of those goals where you just like your jaw just drops because you're like, that kid's that talented. The amount of space that he had was so tiny that window, and he curls it in. The kid is just an insane.
3
talent.
shots on target, another 3 off target. Like you might want to bet shots on some of these players.
Easy.
Like that too, right? Like
two shots on targets plus 275.
There you go. This is a guy who had 3 on target last week against Atalanta. So
I think Stefretz is sneaky for that too. Plus even money for a shot on target.
I love watching him play. Perfect player.
I think what it is too, a player like Paz, he plays for a small side, right? So the books kind of lose track of some of these players sometimes. I feel like.
Yeah, no kidding. We saw the Chiesa odds before. They don't even get that right.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah, they overvalue players with name brand,
just by position. No, it's not even that. It's just
it's position. It's strictly position.
It's strictly position. So he technically is a midfielder, even though he plays like very attacking. So he's getting priced like a midfielder.
Yep. Yeah,
it's insane.
Good point.
Yeah. Both teams to score, by the way, minus 120.
Ooh, yeah. Screw Bologna. I wouldn't take it. I can't.
All right. Where's that bring us? That brings us to Sunday morning.
We are building
early,
up to this,
early.
guys.
I mean, whoever wants to wake up for this one at 6:30 a.m. If you're on the East Coast, it is Juve hosting Empoli. If you're
under 2
west than us, then God bless if you're waking up for this one. Juve minus 280 hosting Empoli. This feels like an under special for sure.
All right, so here's where I'm at. If you're going to give me plus 350 for a draw involving Juventus, I'm taking it. I don't give a shit who the opponent is. I'm taking it. Done.
Yeah. I mean,
and Empoli has 9 draws themselves, by the way.
Yeah, and Empoli doesn't score a lot either. So
I was gonna say, wasn't Empoli the draw kings of like 2 seasons ago?
They were, yeah. Even early in the season, they had quite a few draws. And now you're playing the draw kings. I did see too on Twitter today that it was tweeted that Mota will be around for this season and next, even if they don't qualify for Champions League. Don't know how true that is or not.
A bold statement.
But
how can you say and next?
I guess to open the season is what it insinuates, but
under 2.5 minus 130 looks really good here, and I think the draw is always worth it.
I actually think Juve are gonna win.
Sadly,
listen, I think they reek.
I think
they're garbage, especially for Juve standards. However, this team had not also lost a game. I think we need to. They played a great Napoli team recently. I think someone like Kolo Muani could get a little bit more respect in this sort of game, where he made that immediate impact. I think I'm not making excuses for Juve. I never would. You know me. So I think maybe just a little bit more time with an actual striker and not one of the most overpaid athletes on the planet occupying that number 9 position. Muani playing off of like a Nico Gonzalez, and then how much freedom does that give a player like Yildiz? I think that kind of stuff. I think might be fair to judge Juve, but I have a very short leash with it. I think this is one of those games though that they do actually win.
Hey guys, anybody want to guess the
Yildiz hasn't been that good.
First matchup, the scoreline of the first head-to-head early in the season?
1-1.
No. 0-0.
Hey man, I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right.
Under 2.5. Under 2.5. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oak says even keep an eye out for potentially an Empoli double chance with the way the record is against Juve. He says. I
love my man Oaks always going for a great number.
I'm
going for plus 1.5. I'm going for plus 1.5. I'll drink the juice on that one, Oaks. Minus 130, plus 1.5 on Empoli. Is Juve scoring 2?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened against Empoli in the last 2, so we'll see. But if anybody wakes up for this, he's saying throw $5 on Empoli money line. There you go. Just for fun. If you're waking up at 6:30 in the morning, you might as well have some kind of stake in it, right? All right. Fiorentina, Genoa, the 9 a.m. match. Fiorentina minus 160, Genoa plus 425. Both teams kind of need something here. Fiorentina's slipping a little bit in the table. Genoa sitting around mid-table. Balotelli, Nick, seems like he's on the outs already.
I won't comment on the team until he's sold.
You guys have any opinion in this one? I mean,
I can't imagine anybody's really watching this game with all the other games going on around it.
Yeah. I mean, you want to get Moise Kean if you're getting him at plus 165, plus 170. I think that's worth a look. He's first, second, third. He's not first, second in league goals. I could take that. But outside of that, there's really nothing for me here. Unless Fiorentina, what's their over 1.5? Fiorentina win and over 1.5 is only even money. Nothing for me here. It's just Not a game to get involved in.
Not worth it.
All right, that brings us to the match of the weekend. Milan hosting Inter at noon on Sunday Eastern time, and it is Milan plus 270 on the money line, Inter minus 110. Technically the away team in this one. Yeah, I mean, Martino, we'll go to you first. I mean, based on your comments throughout the episode, you're not high on your boys right now. So,
Martino, do you want to get ahead of the allegations that you were very excited about Fonseca being hired before the season?
I'm not gonna do this.
People are asking.
Yeah, I'm sure they're very literate.
I'm kidding, brother. Go ahead. No.
I
Yeah,
know
give us your thoughts just for quickly. I mean, obviously you sat with us for an hour. Thank you for blowing through every single game with us. But
I did just sprint downstairs to get food, so don't worry. I was
give us your thoughts just quickly on the team, on the season, on the new hire of the coach, and obviously playing Inter for the 5th time this year.
So full vent session. I don't know. Yes. Listen, I mean, I'm not really one to like freak out emotionally like that about this team. I knew who they were, and I constantly had thought this. I thought maybe little disrespect prior to the year with certain odds. In general, I know we talked about that. I felt like they shouldn't have been so far priced down, but I knew this defense was going to be bad. It's terrible. I still don't trust any of it. If you saw the Dinamo Zagreb game at all, the marking by Tomori, even like if a player like Pavlovic were to start in this one, I'm not fully convinced by him. I think he has some flashes. That midfield, talented in certain aspects, but as a whole, it is not balanced at all. And it sounds like Inter could be getting back Hakan and Acerbi this week. Acerbi is not really that big a deal. They don't really need them to win this. Lautaro looks hot. He's really on fire lately. And Thuram is always such a danger. Even if Thuram doesn't score, he's always doing something that affects the way they're winning. And let's face it, we've beaten them twice in a row. One of them was for a trophy, and after they blew a 2-0 lead. Anybody who thinks Inter isn't like out for blood today or Sunday isn't paying attention. I don't care how Milan have been like playing, like, you know, coming back from. They've been behind in every single Conceição game, basically. Even the ones that they win. Every single one that they have won underneath him, they come from behind. So even then, that's something to look at. I don't think we'll see. Morata looks like he's gone. So they're going to sell him. This is another one, by the way, like we were talking about with sales and that kind of stuff. I would back off. I would take Inter now 100% because also like I think just as the days pass, it's not going to favor Milan. Kyle Walker might be playing in this one. Regardless if Walker might work out in Serie A, why would Walker be a great start in this game? He hasn't proven it yet. He has declined greatly. There's no denying it. So to kind of just assume he'd be good to go against one of the best teams in the world is a grave mistake. And yeah, Gabia's hurt from what I believe as well. So he's not going to be starting. So it could be a Tomori Pavlovic duo. It's just, you know, it's really shaky. Inter are firing on all cylinders right now. I think they look very good. They're going to keep pace to pace with Napoli. I think minus 110 for Inter, over 1.5, or you could even go over 2.5 is something. Inter straight, absolutely, I would take that. If I was like betting against my team at this point. And Lautaro and Thuram, look at what they're priced for a derby.
Yeah. Lautaro
is one of the most prolific derby players this century, and he's being priced at plus 175. To me, I feel like that's disrespectful to him. Yeah, I just think the vibes are off with this club right now. And I don't like say they make a move for Santiago Jimenez. Is he going to be starting? What kind of like impact? Like we don't know how this is going to work. But I will say just jump on the lines with Inter right now.
Yep.
Because I think it would be a mistake. And I know some people will be like, a derby's a derby. I think Milan got the lucky derby or fortunate derby morale type of wins already. This is to beat a team a third straight time, to beat this Inter a third straight time is a big ask. And I think if it goes in any favorable result for Milan, it's a draw. Nothing better. If they beat Inter a third straight time, that is probably the most stunning thing to happen this year. If you told me where this Milan is in the league, how they were just playing in the Champions League, bro, like them to win 3 straight times is a joke. It would be embarrassing for Inter, I would think. I think their fans would be irate over it. I think you have to take Inter. And also, just last point, Thuram score or assist. If that is listed, I would also take that.
I think goal money line is the way to go with Inter here.
I'm finding it really hard to make even a counterpoint to anything you said. Honestly, I think you're pretty well spot on with just about everything. Inter, like you said, maybe they're getting some guys back, but you're not taking De Vrij out the way he's playing right now and just inserting a Cherby after a month, 2 months of not playing. That's not happening. He's not an upgrade over De Vrij at this point in time. So yeah, Inter is who they are. They're getting hot at the right time. Lautaro, if you're getting him anywhere plus 175, plus 200, that's an automatic bet. That's like getting Haaland at plus 175 or whatever he's at, right? You absolutely have to bet it. I don't give a shit where the game is, who they're playing, whatever it is. That's absolutely it. That being said, the only thing I could kind of say is like Milan kind of has Inter's number lately. And Martino, if I'm not mistaken, this is the 3rd or 4th time you've come on to preview this specific game. I don't think Milan's lost.
No, when you have a good luck charm.
No, they did. They had the worst loss in Derby history or recent Derby history. When Alex Rafa was on, we lost like 5-1.
No.
That's true. All right, so you're 3-1. You're 3-1 right now. Okay, I did forget about that. But no, you're.
It's just a third time against them. Very similar to kind of where Arsenal and City are too. Like Milan, like if they get a win, it's insane for top 4, top 5.
Yep.
No denying that. But like if they were to lose here, it's kind of weird to say. I don't think it would really like change that. Like obviously anger is always going to be there. But they did just beat Inter twice. And I don't know. I just don't think they're good enough to do this. Yeah. They're playing like shit. Like I'm tired of like trying to put my faith back in them for like the 3rd time to turn it around against Inter. Like I don't know. It's just like the expectation for them to play well in this game is just beyond me. I don't see how that happens. Fofana's also suspended, by the way. I almost forgot to mention that. So they don't even have their second best midfielder, who's also been hit or miss. So it's going to be a Musa, who had just gotten a red card, and you see what his attitude could be like. Reinders is going to have to do more off-ball work, which he's not great at. So when you take that away from Milan, you're taking away their best midfielder and the best things that he can do, which is create and score. And if that's not available to them, how are they going to do this? Leao has, as much as I love the player, never taken over a derby. Like solo where like, we need you. We have nothing else right now. You really need to carry us. He had one great derby. I mean, he did that in the substitute in the Super Cup. But I'm talking like Serie A, like backs against the wall. You need to step up in this fixture. Because if he doesn't, and Teo's the same. I think Teo's been garbage. These players don't show up. They have no shot at all.
January 30th, 2025, 9:54. Mark it in the archives. Martino didn't say something like overwhelmingly positive about Leao.
No, I'm marking it down. Defend him from honestly genuine racist idiots that like don't have like if you're saying a player's not that good because of his rapping career, then you're just a fucking moron. Like has nothing.
Moise Keane has 12 goals, dude. He's rapping too.
Yeah, right. You got escaped the clutches.
No, listen, plus 300 to score. For everything you just said that I believe to be correct, that wasn't overly positive. I can get on here and admit that I criticize Leao more than most, and I think he's been carrying the team for the past couple of weeks, or month, maybe even longer. I don't know. He's shown up in games when they've needed him to, because they're getting virtually nothing from the striker position. Pulisic has also been awesome, right? Reinders has also been awesome. They're getting goals, but Leao really has been making a lot happen the last 5, 6, 7 games, whatever it's been. I'm not keeping count. So he has been good. Like this is if Arsenal was a player this weekend, like Leao is Arsenal. Like I need to see it from him in this game, in this spot. I mean,
Tammy's going to start. I think it's pretty much a guarantee Tammy Abraham starts. Because even if they don't, I think the sale to Galatasaray is going to go through. So you're getting a Tammy Abraham start. Tammy's been horrible finishing this year. Leao gave him an unbelievable pass to win the Super Cup. It was a little tap in. Tammy's been atrocious. Cannot finish chances.
Yep.
Really been struggling. I think even Inter plus 245 minus 1.5 is legit in play. I think they could lose this game easily by 2 goals. Yeah. It would not shock me. A 3-1 on the table, 100%. So yeah, I'm not positive about this one.
I think that's fair.
But Milan, I will say the only other thing to spin it positively about Milan is that they're very Jekyll and Hyde. Sometimes they, like Real Madrid, they pull a performance out of their assholes. Like it's the Juve game in the Super Cup, the turnarounds. I don't know. For me, I don't see how they do it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw out a couple bets, then I'll go back to you guys for your thoughts. But I think Milan over 2.5 cards as a team at minus 130 is in play. I think if you want to just get silly and have fun, a red card at plus 300 just in the game is kind of silly. I think if you want to bet somebody to get a penalty kick, I'm looking for the odds, so give me a second. But I think a penalty kick to be awarded is probably a good bet. Like this is that exact type of game. This is that derby. This is what you're looking for. So I think it will get a little bit silly.
Can I do my silly bet?
Yes.
The player prop. Denzel Dumfries shot on target is plus 205.
That's insane.
It's crazy, right?
That's absolutely wild. Dude's got like a goal in like 4 of his last 5 games.
Averaging 1.4 shots per game, better than 60% shots on target rate. I don't get what the plus 205 is. I don't know.
No,
it's crazy to me.
Take that today if you have it. I'm looking. Remind me where this bet is because it's different on every book.
What is this for?
For a penalty kick to be awarded.
Oh, those are like special props, I think, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they offer.
It's always buried.
Yeah, I know. It's like I find it in the depths of DraftKings over here.
Sometimes you're able to like type it in the search bar.
To score a penalty, to miss a penalty, not to be awarded.
Well, you can just take both, right?
I guess. Inter plus 400, Milan plus 500 to score a penalty.
Yeah, there you
go. I mean,
Coach, what do you got, man?
I got nothing for this. I'm ready to move on.
You have been so worried about Lecce versus Venezia and Empoli versus whoever. You got to have a bet.
I defer to the.
He's worried about the next match that we're about to
the Milan fan, and you guys had a lot of plays, so I don't really have.
You taking Inter money line or what? Gun to your head.
I think Inter money line's the play here.
Okay, I like Scotty's bet though. For what?
And I think Lautaro is worth a bet too at plus 175. I agree there. I think those are 2 plays that are really solid numbers for what they are. All right, that brings us to the Derby del Sole to close out Sunday. It's Roma hosting Napoli. Roma has been playing better, but Napoli plus 130 on the money line.
Crazy.
Jumped out at me right away.
Silly.
I'm the number one Napoli hater. I don't know. Right? I can defend this.
Lukaku at plus 240. Like
I was just looking at that. It's crazy.
Dude, he scores in this game, like this exact game, and he's been hot lately. I don't know, dude. I mean, Coach, give us your thoughts on Roma, and they've been undefeated for what 6-7 games now in the league. Like they've climbed up all the way to 9th. In the league,
they're on a better run. I don't know if it's 6 or 7 because they did lose to Como a few matches back. Let me see what.
Oh, my game of the year. That's right. I remember that. Yeah. Probably their last loss, quite honestly.
Besides Alkmaar in the Europa League, yeah. Actually, it's up to 6 unbeaten in the league, yeah, after that loss.
Okay.
Coming off a nice win against Frankfurt. I didn't get to watch the match in its entirety, but from what I read, they could have scored more than the 2 that they scored.
Against a team
that's been good. in the Bundesliga and in the Europa League. So solid win. Last weekend had to get penalty kicks to get him out of a sticky situation against Udinese. So, but they have steadied things since Ranieri came over. I think his first match in charge was actually against Napoli in the reverse fixture, which was not an easy time to take over. They did lose that match. I'm trying to remember the final score. It was 1-0 in Ranieri's first match. They held out until the second half, and Napoli, pegged them with Lukaku of all people, right? So, I think Roma can keep it close. It is at home at the Olimpico where they are better because their road record is atrocious. That was their first road win yesterday of the season in the league, or last weekend rather, I should say. So I do think at home they have a little bit more going for them, but they are definitely underdogs for a reason. I think Napoli is in a great vein of form right now. I mean, top of the table. Depending on that match hand that Inter has, it's hard to bet against Napoli right now.
Plus 130 shocked me.
Yeah, I can't dispute that. It's the only dispute I have is that number is the ultimate too good to be true. Of all the ones we said that 2 or 3 times today, this is the ultimate one.
I think an interesting one is the both teams to score at minus 135.
I wouldn't touch it.
Napoli's defense is fucking good, man.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't think Buongiorno is going to be playing in this one, by the way. So we'll see if it's the one Jesus derby. So.
He's been awesome, man. Somehow.
I know, yeah.
That guy, I don't understand. I really don't. I don't.
Conte's got him playing.
Nobody does.
Like the fact that him and Mario Rui have, both went there and had starting roles on like good teams.
But we are talking about the manager who beat Spain with Giacchiarini. So
this is true.
All right, so wait, hold on. I'm going to dispute that though because I hear that thrown around an awful lot, and obviously it's a fact. That Conte had took this Italy team and he beat Spain and he beat Belgium and this and that. Bro, he picked the fucking squad.
No. I did hate some of his selections, but he really also didn't have that much to work with.
No question. Hey, listen, very, very low period for Italy.
They did beat the best national team of all time.
Okay.
It was legit. It was incredible.
Picked these guys for a reason, right? He chose them. So to say
he overachieved.
He won with them.
And it was an amazing Germany they lost to on some of the worst penalties you've ever seen in your life.
Sure. No, I agree.
He's great. But yeah, I think I understand where Scotty's coming from with this. Plus 130 for a team that they're very interesting because a lot of people like to doubt Napoli in general. And I understand where they come from because last year was just horrible. But these guys just keep finding a way.
Yeah.
That is hard to look past because they were supposed to start off slow, still got the results that they needed despite the awful start to the year. Right? They almost got eliminated in Coppa Italia to a Serie B, Serie C team. Yeah. So they were on life support. They do end up getting eliminated from that. You could feel like it was a little bit shaky about what happened over the summer. They stabilized everything. And now with that Kvara drama out the door, coming back against Juve the way they did, they got that look to them that makes me say it's kind of hard to turn down plus 130, just kind of like it's hard to turn down where Salah is at. Liverpool is at, and then what Haaland's number is at. I think this is just one of those where you just have to respect what Napoli is doing right now, and you ride it until the wheels fall off.
Yes,
because
they're beating good teams, right? They beat Juve, they beat Atalanta.
They beat everybody. What happened with Inter? I forget.
They didn't beat Lazio twice.
Okay. But I'm talking about in this stretch that they're on this run.
Well, either way,
7 straight wins. They're beating good teams back to back. Atalanta
and
Juve.
Sure, it's not always the sexiest, but again, they just keep doing it. It's just really hard to argue against. The only thing is maybe a 0-0 draw wouldn't shock me. There are some poor finishers within this team. They are a little bit hasty. When Napoli scratches and claws some games to 1-0, or they'll get a penalty and Lukaku will bury it. Roma Dojvic is sort of bro, I don't.
He stinks, dude. He's bad.
They're already looking at Luka, bro, right? So
I don't blame him.
But Dybala in this, how much does Dybala play? I wasn't sure how much
he looks uninterested. Coach, I want your take on it because I watch him and he's had one good game all year.
I didn't get to watch today's match. He sat last weekend to rest for today's match because they needed a result today to ensure progression. So he has his matches. I do think from what I read, Sule made a nice play today, which is encouraging because he needs
cool.
I think
it's February. He did it.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I think he needs someone to push him a little bit. Like what Ranieri's pretty much done outside of last weekend when he rotated like 3 or 4 important players. It's pretty much played the same starting 11 because they've had one match a week for quite some time until Europa League got back going again a couple weeks ago. So it's good to see hopefully some other players getting involved. I'm curious to see how much he rotates here or if he rotates more against Milan in the Copa next week, because you can't keep playing 11 guys when you have 2 matches a week, especially guys like Dybala with his injury history. Hummels is getting up there in age. But that's been another difference too. Like, how did Hummels not play like at all under even Juric is bizarre to me, right? He's become a fixture and the defense has improved. They're still giving up goals, but yeah, he's 37, 38, but whatever. Like, he's still, like, what was Roma? They were not playing well defensively.
They didn't even try. They didn't even try. They didn't even give him a look.
Yeah, it was.
This guy's a respected defender who was just playing in the Champions League final.
Right.
I understand how old he is. Roma's shit. They couldn't get a result, and they didn't even look at him.
Like you have a guy who's
respectful.
Yeah.
I mean, while we're on it, I wanna get the facts correct here. So give me a second because I'm
looking at I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to see how many shots on target Napoli had the first time they met, but like Miles Villar to have 3+ saves is -120 here on DraftKings.
Many are saying 2 very fortunate penalties last week against Udinese to get the win.
Is that? I didn't see any of them. I didn't see that match.
Well, I mean, Roma has to be averaging a penalty a game. Like, they have to.
No, not even close, Nick.
I think one out of every 2 goals has to be a penalty.
No,
I will say they don't have that, but Roma fans can't. And I'm not saying you do this, Steve. But Roma fans cannot do this. The referees are against us
Ever
this year. They can't do that shit. I'm sorry. Like, you get plenty of fair calls. I'm not saying like all of them are like unjust or whatever, but Roma get plenty of calls that they can't use this like card out of their pocket, where a lot of these fans, whenever they drop points in a game that they thought they deserved to win, they blame the refs. But when it's for them, it's just, it's right. It's always the correct call. It's never wrong. And at least you have the humility, Steve, to admit that, like, sure, we need a couple penalties to get away.
No, they got bailed out last week. I'm not going to say they didn't.
See, that's why I love it.
I thought it was a goal against a run of play by Luca, of all people, right?
Good player.
Yeah, good player.
He's going to turn into something when he goes to a good team.
I agree. But, Roma controlled that whole first half. He scores like the 38th minute or something. Complete. Like, you look at like SofaScore has those graphs that go up and down based on momentum, and like it was all going toward Roma, and then all of a sudden there's just like this goal blip that just like pops up. So,
they don't call him Coach XG for nothing.
Yeah,
no, they don't.
But what I'm saying is when you have a goal against a run of play like that, definitely it's like a gut punch, right? And they did need a little help. I can't remember exactly how they got both of them. I think one of them was a clearer penalty than the other, from what I remember. Everything starts to blur. Over the course
so many penalties, we forget which ones are which. Yeah, I know.
No, honestly,
I know.
Yeah, I just.
So here's my honest question to close out the game. The betting question that I want 3 honest opinions on, or anybody in the chat. What do you think is more likely at +130 for this game? A Napoli money line 1-0 win, or Napoli hitting 2 goals on the team total? Because as a bettor, I am somebody who would, in that scenario, rather take the team total and not worry about if the team wins or not. Or
I don't know if Roma hits him for 2, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, because moneyline wins in both of those scenarios, my opinion.
And they won 1-0.
Well, right. That's where I'm always at, Scotty. Like,
right,
2 goals to win a game, right? You need, generally speaking, you need 2 goals to win a game. But
I could also see them winning 1-0.
They did the first time, right?
Yeah. So to answer your question, I'd rather take Napoli money line.
Okay.
Napoli money line. The 2 goals is just, I know they haven't proven it yet to score a lot. Away to this opponent in this sort of match, where it's going to be really difficult regardless of how good Napoli is. The Olimpico is always difficult. So I just see them clawing out a win. I just think they're that type of team right now. And that's the safer one.
Okay.
I don't
more
see
the
like
Conte style, right? Like go on the road, tough place to play, just find a way to
But
get
they
the
just
win
put up 3 on Atalanta. They just put up 2 on
Yeah.
Juve. That's I don't know. I'm just trying to give an alternative here.
The Juve ones were kind of scrappier goals. They played well. I didn't get a chance to see the Atalanta one, unfortunately. But McTominay's been great. What is his shot on target?
He's so good. I love McTominay's supremacy here. So fucking good.
McTominay minus 140 shot on target. Not bad.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, exactly. We're not expecting it to be offensive. But what are the odds for Roma to get a penalty, Nick?
Oh, automatic bet. Let's see.
I'm just curious because then
to score a penalty plus 500, to miss is plus 800. So you bet both of those. You basically are,
plus 500 for those penalty merchants. That's unreal.
Yeah. Penalty merchants. All right.
If you just throwing it out, sorry. Where's the correct score? I'm looking at Napoli 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 win is plus 170. That's okay. I'd rather just take Roma not to score at plus 205.
Wow. Really?
So clean sheet is a better number than getting any of those goal combinations. Interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, we're closing something out with something. I got excited. What'd you say?
We're gonna close it out with Lazio on the road.
Cool.
Plus 100.
Cagliari is a tough place to play, but
talk us out of it, Nick. Let's
tough place to play for sure. We have a Lazio team with forwards that can't score, but it's a must-win game because you have to beat these teams. They've done a pretty good job of beating bad teams under Baroni, contrary to them usually losing to bad teams and beating the good ones. So, yeah, they're worth a look at even money. I think both teams go no, it's an ugly number. They're worth a look, I think, at even money.
I love that you guys are able to talk so much about these games because it allows me to get a little creative. And so I've come up with a game plan. And Nick, you can tell me if you love this or hate this. But
love.
I already know you love round robins.
Yes.
Why would you not round robin Inter, Napoli, Lazio money line? And if you hit those first two, you can easily hedge out against Lazio on Monday.
Yeah, I would do that.
It's about a 13 unit. It's a 13 unit payout, and the last match, the first match would be a 3-unit parlay, Inter and Napoli. It's like plus 330, and 10 units on the last day. So you can easily take your winnings and just put that on Cagliari.
Yeah, I would absolutely do that.
Basically, guarantee yourself 6 to 9 units at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want me to go?
Yes.
I don't know. This one's tough. You guys have been. I think you're in a patchy run right now. I don't know. I don't know too much about who you started today, though. Cagliari is so annoying. This is one of the most annoying teams in the league. Davide Nicola and his teams are so Sean Dyche coded.
Yes.
But in Serie A, just like this guy is just here to make sure that you don't get relegated. And this guy's going to do everything he can in these sort of matches against at home against sides like Lazio to not concede whatsoever. Just do anything but don't concede. To me, what was the total here? I go under 2.5 at minus 110.
I like that.
You think your strikers are struggling? I kind of see that. You're going to have some key absences in this. This could be one of those weeks too where I could see you guys draw. But under 2.5 feels like one of the safer ones for me. I think if Lazio win, it's not going to be like 2-1 or something like that. I'd be surprised.
I agree.
That's it. I'm not picking any props on players. I don't have anything.
Nothing.
I'm not. I don't know. Dia is great. That's pretty good value for him. He has a great nose for goal, but like I was saying, I don't really trust anyone. Tati at plus 190 is not that
gross.
I don't think he's that good of a player. I don't know.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, so plenty of good matches this weekend, even some bad ones that we found some bets in. So hope you guys enjoyed. We thank you for listening. If you stuck around for the whole hour and a half
Hell
plus.
yeah.
And we thank you, Martino, for coming on under the weather and all, but you added a lot
Yeah,
of
I
great stuff to the
apologize.
show.
Disaster half the time.
I lost my voice. Just go.
But no, thanks again for coming on. Tell everybody where they can find your work, and we wish you luck in the Derby, even though we're all going.
Oh yeah.
The money line
you guys saw it on the ticker the whole time. You can just follow me on there. Anyone else? Yeah, just go and check out the content, the Milan podcast. It's been great. It's been a fun time. It's going to be another depressing recording tomorrow, most likely. We have to talk about these stupid rumors. But yeah, always love coming on, chatting with you guys. Chat with Nick pretty much on the daily. And yeah, we got to head up to Bobby V's soon enough. I was just there for the AFC Championship.
Do you want to join our horse racing pod that we're going to start putting together?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about ponies.
Good, you'll fit right in.
I'll just give my thumbs up and support it in whatever way you can. But the ponies over there are pretty crazy. And best of luck to you guys in the Super Bowl betting as well.
Don't forget, I'm an Eagles fan, Martino. So
yeah, a lot of people don't believe me, and I know I'm like, whatever. This is towards the end now. There are too many non-New York football fans in this area of the world where we are, like the tri-state New York area. There's more Eagles, Cowboys, Steelers fans, and Dolphins fans than I know Jets and Giants fans
on this pod.
It's insane. Yeah. Well, yeah. Scotty, what are you?
The sad thing is you had to import a
We've
Giants
got
fan
three quarters
from
of the NFC East over here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I am a Giants fan. I'm just a random Giants fan from Massachusetts.
That's incredibly funny.
Endure the Patriots era. That was fun.
Yeah.
Fun for me.
That's insane. Well, yeah.
I feel like that happens more with football than any other sport. You get the non hometown teams more than any other sport, I think, with football. But
oh yeah, stuck with the one garbage team. Anyways, yeah. FanDuel squares are the shit. You could put like $5 for boxes on them. I won like $500,000 last year on just a random one that I clicked. Yeah, it was crazy. They give you the options for like any other box, right? Like first quarter, half, third quarter, and then full time. So just to throw that out there for some fun people, don't go to the blackjack table on your app. Just toss it on that instead.
All
right. So we'll end it here. Thank you guys for listening. Like, share, subscribe if you're enjoying our work. Let your friends know about it. And we wish you best of luck on the weekend bets. And share your winning bets with us on Twitter. And we'll be sure to.
Did you? I missed the start of the show. Did you like tell people that we like basically cleaned up the last month? Like we got to be hitting like 70%.
Did not. That's why you got to be here on time to let everybody know.
Yeah. I mean, we're hot right now. So maybe it was a little lethargic getting through some of these ugly games that are coming up this weekend, but we've been hot.
Yeah. All right. So let's hope we stay hot, and we'll catch you guys next week.